Two Dudes with Attitudes, a wrestling podcast with Ryan Enjoys Wrestling and MWO. And this is our AEW edition where we're going to talk all things Double or Nothing, Dynamite. We even got some dudes read the news. We are popping today, Ryan. How you feeling? Are you ready?
It was an exhausting week. I'm glad to have some time back in the weekend, some normalcy until we get ready for Money in the Bank next week, and then we do it all over again. So, it's some crazy times right now.
I agree. So hit that music. Let's get it.
Two dudes with attitudes. Let's go. It's the two dudes and the attitudes, ruthless, aggressively speaking. So let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton. They here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast shit. Start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all Lee, the two dudes with the attitudes that bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.
All right, like we said, it is a jam-packed show, and you're right, it was a jam-packed weekend because we had Saturday night's main event commercials, we had NXT Battleground, we had Double or Nothing, and I had told you I was at Disneyland that day, so I came back, got home, got settled in, watched Battleground first because it's on Peacock. I went on Amazon, purchased Double or Nothing, and they told me the event was over. I hit up the message board, and I was like, hey, I just paid $50. Can I, watch Double or Nothing? Oh, we don't have reruns. I'm like, cool beans. And then they announced on Dynamite that they had reruns. So they're supposed to, give me back my money, and they didn't. I was hearing all these things about AEW pay-per-views about how Thriller and this, they really need to get that shit together because you can't just have it on Amazon and stuff like that. I should be able to watch it whenever the hell I want. If I bought a UFC pay-per-view after it was over, I can watch it right away. I do that all the time. So I had to go on YouTube, and thankfully enough, there was some dude, I don't know if he does it all the time, but he was there live, and he recorded every single match. So I watched every single match on this guy's YouTube that same day, and it was kind of cool because it was a different, I get to hear the actual crowd, not the kind of TV version of it.
Yeah.
So I probably got a different point of view than everybody else, but nonetheless, at least I got to watch it. But AEW, fix your pay-per-view shit. Beyond Max, have it be free.
Get that taken
Let's
care
get
of.
it to F together. Why am I still paying $50 for a pay-per-view? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, especially with all the news recently of WWE counter programming and putting stuff on the same time as AEW. That's where the WWE has the advantage because people aren't willing to shell out the $50 every single time to watch All In when they can go to Peacock and watch WWE. So they got to figure this out. And I'm hoping that maybe the WWE counter programming everything is the kick in the ass they need to get their stuff on Max ASAP.
I fully agree. But with that said, we got some news. So it is time for Two Dudes Read the News. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so we'll start with some, I guess, sad news or breaking news rather. But this just broke about 10 minutes before we started recording. But Mariah May has officially been removed from the AEW roster. AEW's roster no longer has Mariah May listed. She was on the roster right beside Madison Rayne and Marina Shafir as of May 29th, which was yesterday, today being May 30th. And usually, not all the time, but usually being removed from the AEW roster is an indication of an AEW departure. And when the last time they removed people from the roster, it was Malachi Black, Ricky Starks, Miro, all at the same time. And we all know where the three of them all ended up. And the reports are that Mariah May is also expected to join them and come to the WWE imminently, is what the reports are saying. So normally we don't really talk a lot about a dirt sheet speculation and dirt sheet fodder, but the fact that she was taken off the roster says a lot. Even though they did take MJF off the roster, but I think that was because his contract was technically up. And maybe it's the same thing with Mariah May. Her contract, she's technically not signed with AEW, so her contract's up. So maybe they're working something out behind the scenes. But according to all the dirt sheets, she's expected to go to the WWE. And we haven't seen her since AEW Revolution when she was in the Hollywood ending match against Toni Storm.
Here's the thing, right? I'm not going to be shocked if she pops up on Dynamite on Wednesday. I'm not going to be shocked if she pops up on SmackDown tomorrow or tonight on Friday. I wouldn't be shocked either way. But with that said, me and you are pretty much the only in-betweeners of all of pro wrestling content, I believe. I feel like everybody's one side, and we're not, even though somebody's starting to become an AEW nut hugger a little bit. But nonetheless, I think this is an awful move. She's leaving AEW. Do I want to see Mercedes Moné? Do I want to see Mariah May on my screen? Hell yeah, I do all the time. But I feel like she's going to get lost in the WWE. Unless that's why they moved Julia all of a sudden. Maybe that's why they moved, Stephanie Vaquero all of a sudden, because they're moving her to NXT, which I would love. And I think she needs to start there, because no matter how big she is in AEW world and in our eyes, she is not a big name in the normal public of pro wrestling fans. So her being on NXT, I think that's better than AEW. But if she's trying to go anywhere else, I think she needs to stay in AEW, because big fish, small pond.
Could explain how and why JC Jane won the NXT Women's Championship.
Ooh.
Maybe Mariah May's coming in to be her first opponent, and they wanted to protect Stephanie Vaquero as a result. So, but either way, I think it's sad if she leaves AEW, mainly because that feud with Toni Storm might be one of the best things that AEW has ever done in their entire history. Probably one of the best stories they've ever told, one of the best rivalries. And now we have to put it on the shelf with CM Punk and MJF of things that we can never talk about anymore because she's not with the company. So I really, really hate it when that happens. When, if MJF, all of his greatest accomplishments, he can't talk about CM Punk because it's a WWE reference. Now Toni Storm, she can't talk about her time with Mariah May because it's a WWE reference. So it always makes me sad whenever that happens, because it was such a great thing for AEW and a great moment for her.
Well, I was at that pay-per-view. Maybe there was a reason.
Yeah, we were.
And we both were. You came with me. That's right.
We were both there. Yeah.
I was like, which one did you come? Because I went to 2 AEWs recently. I forgot you went to that one with me. But it said the end. So I wonder if that's the.
Yeah.
Man, I remember what I had for breakfast yesterday.
People were pissed that it didn't end the pay-per-view, which it should have if you're going to put the end on the screen.
Yeah.
But and I think it would have gone over better. But that's neither here nor there. But that's the breaking news coming out of AEW. And then the other news that we didn't talk about last week that kind of slipped my mind because AEW hasn't really mentioned it on screen either, which is very strange. But Darby Allin successfully climbed Mount Everest last week, I believe it was. I think it was like around maybe Thursday or Friday. But not only did he climb Mount Everest, but he planted an AEW flag at the summit of Mount Everest.
Super cool.
So, you say what you want about Darby Allin and his in-ring ability. You say what you want about him and his wrestling style and his skills. Nobody can ever take this away from him. And it's a huge marketing and promotional opportunity for AEW that they really should take advantage of. So, kudos to Darby for doing that. A lot of people might say, well, that's not a big deal. Like, I couldn't even dream of climbing Mount Everest. I've seen movies where people have died trying to climb Mount Everest. There's one called Everest that's based on a true story where people have died. So the fact that he was able to do it and he survived and he's okay, shout out to him.
Don't more people die climbing Mount Everest than they do getting to the top of the mountain? Because there's like levels, right? You like stop and they bring people back down after that, right? There's not everybody.
Yeah.
It's not like this is like Darby started with a team of 15 people and all 15 made it. I don't think that's how it works.
No,
nonetheless,
he has like 1 or 2 people with him to help guide him, but he's doing it all himself. And he can say, I can't go anymore. I'm going to stop. Or they
monitor you. I think like if you can't do it, they'll force you to stop. I think. I don't think they let you like try to.
Yeah. They're not gonna. They protect it a lot. They protect you a lot more than they did back in the day, for sure.
Oh, well, yeah. But with that said, you're right. Tony Khan, I never get. And I'm not bashing Tony Khan here, but I feel like there's big moments that AEW has done, and he doesn't capital. Like, how are you not putting this all over everything? I would have this on Jacksonville Jaguar, like, warm-up games that they're doing right now and practices. I would have it all over AEW Dynamite, Collision. I would even find a way to air commercials of it on freaking WWE. Like, where are you not like promoting the shit out of this? This is a huge thing. I think people don't understand, right? Running a marathon is usually people's like goal, right? They're like, oh man, one day if I could run a marathon, I would be so like perfect. You know how many people run marathons every year? So you know how many people climb Mount Everest. Like, this is a huge effort. This is like a big deal. Major props to Darby Allin for doing it, and even better props for him sticking that flag, because he said without AEW, he would not be alive or who he is today. And whether you like AEW or not, that means something. And for him to put that flag on there, bravo, Darby Allin. I'm proud of you, brother. That's some good freaking shit right there. So I could never do it.
Yeah. And
So-
he also set a new world record, apparently. I just was doing some Googling, and there's a video of him doing a skateboard kickflip at nearly 6,400 meters, which is apparently a new world record. So shout out to Darby Allin. And AEW did put it on their social media page, but they haven't been putting it anywhere else.
That's
And
not, yeah.
I'm wondering if there's a reasoning for that, which we'll get into a little bit later.
Yeah, we'll see. But anyway, let's get into it. Double or nothing. Are you ready? We are about to do our infamous 2 thumbs with attitudes. Well, we will give every match, all 9 of them, so we got to kind of move through this.
Yawn.
A thumbs up, right? A thumbs up or a thumbs down. The way we do it is that get a thumbs up, it's got to be a B or better, 80%. If it is under that, so if it's average or below average, we give it a thumbs down. So it doesn't mean we think the match sucked. We just don't think it was above average. People said, I saw people posting that this was the best pay-per-view AEW ever did. I heard that this had the best match ever put on AEW. I want to say right now, we as a people need to stop with this shit. We need to stop. And I'm not just talking about pro wrestling. I watch First Take. I watch everything, right? Like, Halliburton's the greatest player right now in the world. Oh, he had a bad game. He's the worst player ever. Oh, this guy,
Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson's the best.
He
won yesterday. He won last night. Oh, he's the best. He's a better spot shooter than Reggie Miller ever was. Oh my God, Ant is the next Michael Jordan. Oh, he got swept again. Oh no, Ant's garbage.
Yeah.
Okay, people, we can't just always just say things are good. Like AEW Double or Nothing, great pay-per-view. Hangman and Will Ospreay, fantastic match. Not everything has to be over the
greatest of all time.
So please stop, people. With that said, let's get into it. Mercedes Moné, your favorite current female wrestler, defeated Jamie Hayter, and I think in the shocker of the night, nobody saw this one coming, but she won. She finished off winning the Owen Hart's women's tournament final. My man, thumbs up or thumbs down?
I'm actually going to give this one a thumbs up. I thought this match was good. There were times where I thought, oh, the Mercedes might actually take an L. And I thought Jamie Hayter brought it. I think this might have been one of Mercedes' best match that she's had in AEW, and I think Jamie Hayter brought it out of her. So I'm going to give this a very strong thumbs up. I really enjoyed this match, and I thought it was definitely Mercedes' best match.
I'm going to say thumbs down, brother. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was bad. But I don't think it was. I think it was average. And you're going to see a trend here where I think almost every one of these matches is average, which isn't a bad thing. Makes it a good pay-per-view. No. It just isn't the greatest pay-per-view ever. Once again, I thought Battleground was better. But yeah, I'm going to go thumbs down. I thought it was kind of whatever. The outcome was.
I think it was too predictable. Yeah,
it was. They didn't really do. I don't know. I thought it was not a hot. And I don't think it should have opened. I get why they were doing it. So they had the women's and the men's open and close the show. I thought another match could have opened it. Maybe Toni Storm and Mina. Putting that number 6 was really weird. But nonetheless, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm going to go thumbs down just a little bit. I think it's also, the match was 21 minutes, bro. And that's one thing I got to say about this card. There was 189 minutes of wrestling. That's not it. That's wrestling, dude. 189 minutes. That's not intros. That's wrestling, not the walkout. So 189 divided by 60, that is 3.15 hours of wrestling.
Yeah.
And that's not the pre-show. That's too much. We have to, main events are 21 minutes. There's there's 2 matches that went over 20, 2 matches that went over 30. Everything else went 16 minutes except for 2 went 13. That's unacceptable. But let's move on. So a lot of these I rate bad just because they went on too long, and that was one of them. All right, we had FTR defeating Nigel, McGuinness, and Daniel Garcia, where Daniel Garcia fell asleep while Nigel McGuinness cried. Why? I have to watch. But FTR wins, obviously. Thumbs up or thumbs down. It went 22 minutes. This match needed to go 22 minutes.
Yeah. No, I'm going to give this one a very strong thumbs down. I did not like this match. I didn't really care about this match going into it. I thought for sure Adam Copeland would come out and even the odds or take out FTR, and that never happened. The whatever happened there at the end with Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness, like almost in tears. It was just once again, the outcome was too predictable, and yeah, it was just a really long match. The fact that this went longer than the opener just tells you everything right there. It was just really, really long. And I just, for the second match, what they always say on pay-per-views, Chris Jericho always says, you either want to open the show or close the show. You never want to go second. And this was the match that went second. And to me, it was a snooze fest.
A thumbs down all the way, and it was. There's no reason this match goes 22 minutes. This match needed to go 12 minutes max. There's no, we need to stop with that. It's not an important match. I'm glad FTR's heel. They're doing their thing, but thumbs down for me. Speaking of a match that shouldn't have happened, that's one Ricochet defeating Mark Briscoe in a stretcher match of all freaking things. It went 16 minutes. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs down. I'm sorry. Mark Briscoe does not do it for me as a singles competitor. Ricochet, I'm still just not feeling his whole thing in AEW. I'm sure all the AEW fans will disagree with that and say that we're being biased, but this match is another match that did not need to happen on this pay-per-view. And I think AEW needs to figure that out. Does every match... Now that you're not doing quarterly shows anymore, you're doing monthly shows. So not everybody has to be on the card. This was a match that could have been on a Collision. This was a match that could have been on a Dynamite. And if it had been on a Dynamite, I think it would have been a fantastic match. But the fact that it was just kind of a useless match with no build, and the fact that it's a stretcher match, it was just whatever. I just didn't enjoy it.
I mean, I knew I was going to give this thumb down when they announced it, and I'm doing a thumbs down. It was way too long. There was no point for it to be a stretcher. There was no story behind it. Shouldn't just
why are they in a stretcher match?
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, this was a Collision main event, not even Dynamite. This was a Collision main event. We got to stop. Ricochet is not him, but if you want to keep throwing him down our throats, that's fine. But let's at least give him something to work with. And Mark Briscoe, even him walking out with Willow on Dynamite, and they're all laughing at him and stuff. I'm like, I don't, and not like an R-Truth goofball. People are laughing not with him. It's very, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Oh man, it keeps getting better. The Hurt Syndicate defend their tag titles by defeating the Sons of Texas. 13 minutes, the lowest time, and it's a tag team title match. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I'm going very, very fringe thumbs down. I thought MJF would have gotten more involved than he did. I thought they would have focused more on that whole dynamic. They did the whole promo last week on Dynamite with Dustin Rhodes, and Sammy Guevara doesn't talk anymore. This match, I was excited. I was most excited about the two tournament matches, and then this match because of the MJF involvement. And I was just disappointed that he got involved and he almost cost them the match. He kind of technically helped them win the match, but I wanted more. And so I give it a very fringe thumbs down.
Yeah, I'm excuse me. This match was average. Yeah, it was good. It just wasn't great. So I give it a thumbs down, but barely as well. MJF should have got more involved. I didn't like the whole I'm gonna, and Bobby Lashley that's not what we do here. Just kidding. Spear. It was fine for what it was, but I don't know. And no one in the right mind thought Sons of Texas was gonna win. This was,
and again,
was what
Dynamite
it was.
Main event, Collision main event.
Let's get 5-6 matches on AEW, people. All right, next up, the match people really didn't even know was going to happen. That was one Okada defending his Continental title that people don't know exists anymore by defeating Speedball Mike Bailey. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thumbs down. I know, all the internet was splurging in their pants at the very thought of this match, and this was a great, fantastic match, and it was. I'm not dogging the wrestling ability. I just. Again, the story, just when there's no story and there's not a lot of build, it kind of takes me out of it. And I know he was involved. Speedball Mike Bailey took Okada out when they were setting up for the whole Anarchy in the Arena thing and all that jazz on Dynamite a couple weeks ago, and Moxley and group were fighting in the cage. I get that. But that's not really a story, and Mike Bailey just doesn't do it for me. I don't know. Thumbs down for me on this match, and Okada deserves better.
Thumbs down for me too, but only because I don't get Mike Bailey. I don't like his everything he's doing. It's like whatever, and I don't think it mixed well with Okada. It just, and I love Okada, so it's nothing on him. He did what he needed to do, and I can see why people did like the match. If you like Mike Bailey's moveset, I don't. I'm not a fan of it, and he didn't do good enough for me to want to say it's above average. So yeah, it's another fifth straight thumbs down for me.
And sometimes, I know we always talk about predictability, and we always say that predictability isn't always a bad thing, but nobody thought Mike Bailey was going to win the Continental Championship because we want to see the international title and the Continental Championship crown unified it all in. So that kind of took me out of this match as well. Like Okada, there was no way Okada was losing. So we already kind of knew the outcome before.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So there's 4 matches left, and this is where I think the pay-per-view finally kicked into gear. And I think this is why people pretended it was the greatest thing ever, because when you only remember how it ended, not how it started, right? So we have Toni Storm defeating Mira in a women's title match, 16 minutes. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Very, very fringe thumbs up for me. Like, this was a good match. I still think her match at Dynasty against Megan Bayne was 10 times better. I don't understand the Mina Shirakawa thing. And the thing is Mina Shirakawa showed out. She did fantastic, but we're probably never going to see her again. So, like, she wasn't on Dynamite this week.
Yeah.
She won't she might be on Collision. I don't know. But it's just, they keep bringing these people in, putting them in random title matches, and then they stop using them. But, yeah, great performance from Toni Storm as always. She brings it. The whole stuff at the end with the kiss and all that. Like, I guess it's a good way to end the feud now. That's how she ends her feuds, and she was trying to do the same thing with Mercedes on Dynamite, which we'll get into. But very, very fringe thumbs up. Entertaining match, but I wish they would stop with these random matches at the same time.
This is one of the few times where I'm giving a match a thumbs up because of the fact that it was random. I think I went into it like, ugh, this match is going to be stupid. What's the point of it? It's just a filler to get Toni on the card. But I thought I did well. I mean, Mira, obviously we know Mira and Storm can wrestle. They've wrestled many a times before. They have good matches. This was no different. And I like Toni Storm did her finisher like out of nowhere. That's kind of spiked it up a little bit more for me too. I kind of like the random, just boom, done. Kind of enjoyed it. So, with that, I give it a thumbs up. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that it wasn't a lot of finisher, kick out, finisher, kick out. It was like finisher, done. I was like, okay, good. That's how it should be.
I agree. All right. The match Ryan was splooging for. It is the Anarchy in the Arena. Let me just let you know that this match went on for 35 minutes. That's longer than a normal sitcom TV show. Kenny Omega, Willow Nightingale, Swerve, Strickland, and the Opps defeated the Death Riders and the Young Bucks. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Despite what the internet might say, I'm going very, very fringe thumbs down. Like, it was a good match, probably one of the better Anarchy in the Arena matches we've seen. And, there's that scene in Dumb and Dumber, which is a great movie. But when Jim Carrey says, I expected the Rocky Mountains to be a lot more rockier than this. And Jeff Daniels says, yeah, that John Denver's full of shit, man. This is how this was. I was expecting more Anarchy in the Arena than, like, this match was started in the ring and finished in the ring. Yeah. I was expecting more like stuff behind the scenes, but the addition of Mark Briscoe coming out of the ambulance or during was he back there the whole time hiding? It was that whole thing was strange. Gabe Kidd showing up out of nowhere when like he helped them before, but he wasn't in the match. But Marina Shafir showed out. So did Willow Nightingale showed out. Kenny Omega, I think like getting the crowd involved with Let the Bodies Hit the Floor, I think that pumped the crowd up because I think they were starting to take a nosedive a little bit, and that seemed to rejuvenate them a little bit. So shout out to him for doing that. But I'm going to be honest, man, the Death Riders to me have lost a lot of steam. Like the fact that they lost their trios championships to the Opps, and now they're losing Anarchy in the Arena. I don't know. I feel like we should be building them up even stronger going into the biggest show of the year. So thumbs down for me. Very, very fringe thumbs down. Great match. Powerhouse Hobbs is a beast. Like he showed out in that match. He's fantastic. But yeah, very, very fringe thumbs down for me.
I agree with pretty much everything you said. I'm not a fan of these matches. I'm not a fan of the WWE versions. I'm not a fan of any of. I don't like that I have to not pay attention on the match. I have to be everywhere and looking everywhere. And I don't know how fans. I heard people saying like, "Oh, I was there, it was the best." How could you enjoy it if you're there? When we were at the anytime they moved away, I'm like, God, now I gotta.
When they
watch
did the Hollywood ending match,
I don't want matches to go everywhere. That's not good for me. I can't freaking see it. It's stupid. But nonetheless, I don't want to be too judgmental because I don't like these matches. They didn't go over the top. It wasn't like a super bloody, dumb, like spot fest. So that is why I give it a barely thumbs up, because they did kind of what I've been wanting out of these matches. They kept it closer to the ring. They didn't bleed everywhere. But I'll be honest with you. As soon as the Young Bucks entered out the way they did, I almost turned the shit off. I almost didn't even watch it. I am a Young Bucks fan. I own multiple shirts. I've always supported them. This shtick is fucking stupid. We need to stop. The founding fucking fathers. Nobody cares. Like CM Punk is gone. He's moved on. We've moved on. Nobody cares anymore. Coming out in these, I'm surprised they lost. But with that said, I get why you said the Kenny Omega, because the match was not getting really as much as it needed, and he did that. I thought. I go back and forth with it because I'm like, dude, you stopped in the middle of like a match and everyone just watched as you were like, let's hit some music. I'm so excited. No. We need something better. Isn't Bodies Hit the Floor? Didn't that used to be like a Monday Night Raw intro?
Yeah, it was the opening. It was the opening to Raw or SmackDown. I can't remember.
Okay,
which one.
So isn't that weird that we're doing a WWE theme song for? I didn't like that either. I get it was to get the crowd, but like I said, I want my wrestling to feel real. I don't want it to feel scripted. And he's like, hey, yo, let me get the mic for 15 minutes to get this crowd. What up, DJ? Hit that track. And it's like everyone's just watching. Like, no, it was too much for me. It was like the Ricochet match when Mark Briscoe sprayed Windex on his head and was like, Ricket. And everybody's like, this shit was dope. Look at your laugh. I'm like, no, it's so stupid.
No, I was laughing at
it's
you.
Not, and once again, I'm going to say it right now. 60% of adult men are bald. I'm one of them. And I do choose to shave my head. But nonetheless, like, that's a flex. That's a flex when you're 8 years old. The kids I watched it like, you're bald. And I'm like, yeah, an adult saying that. I'm like, what the? That's a flex. Like,
no, I agree.
This humor on this thing was stupid. But nonetheless, thumbs up. That's my tirade. I talked too long.
I'll take it. I'll disagree with you slightly on the Kenny Omega thing. To me, that made it feel not scripted because, that felt like it was on the whim. Like he was like, this crowd's dying. What can I do to pick him up? What can I do to
I
save
get
him?
that.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you attack him while he was, or would you just watch it?
That I agree with.
That song, Kenny.
Yeah.
Like,
that I
that's
agree
what I
with.
mean.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and the staple gun with Marina Shafir and Swerve Strickland on the tongue, like that kind of stuff. Like,
I don't. Yeah,
like Swerve, man, like he's getting a little careless with, but it's better than freaking syringes. So I'll give him credit for toning it down a little bit. But yeah, very cringe thumbs up for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't kink shame, so whatever Swerve's into, you do you, brother. All right, let's get into it. We had the match that I felt so bad for. I get why they did it because they didn't want, for one, 2 hours of straight wrestling. But the Don Callis family defeated the Paragon, and nobody gave two shits. It went on for 13 minutes, and the crowd was so exhausted, they were over it. Poor guys. But nonetheless, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Oh, I hate to do it, but thumbs down. This match was just, it was what it was. I mean, there's nothing memorable from it. I completely forgot it even happened, to be honest with you. That's how memorable it was. Until I watched Dynamite, and I was like, oh, yeah, Adam Cole had a match. And like the second to last match on the card. So yeah, very, very, very strong thumbs down.
Yeah, there's a thumbs down. This match was literally put together last second to be the match in between these two main events. So
yeah, and I hate it for all six of these guys because they're all fantastic.
And Don Callis family won? Like, what year is this? All right.
Yeah.
All right. The main event. What people thought was a surprise. What people call the greatest match of all time. An instant classic. Hangman Adam Page defeats Will Ospreay. They kiss and hug afterwards. Goes on for 37 minutes. 37 minutes, bro. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I'm going to go thumbs up. And I'm going to say, and this might sound hot take-ish or whatever, but this is my favorite Will Ospreay match of all time. That I've ever seen. And he toned down a lot of the flippity doodah stuff. He wasn't in the ring against somebody who does a lot of that stuff. the two best matches I've seen of Will Ospreay involve guys that don't do the flippity doodah stuff. It was Hangman Adam Page, and then the 1 hour classic that he had on Dynamite against MJF for the American Championship at the time last year. So I thought this was the right outcome. I'm happy Hangman Page got the victory. It was the right decision, and it was a great match, and it was a great way to get the crowd back invested, because that crowd, after the Adam Cole match, I think, and the Anarchy in the Arena match, I think they were a little exhausted, and this pay-per-view was like 6.5 hours long, and the crowd seemed invested from start to finish, and this was a great match to end the show.
Yeah, this was definitely a thumbs up. It was definitely Will Ospreay's best match. And definitely the right person won. I think this match showed what we keep saying about Will Ospreay not being that guy. Hangman Page is a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
Will Ospreay is an entertainer. And it is what it is. You can say I'm wrong or whatever else, but that's what it means. Hangman Adam Page showed Will Ospreay how to carry a match. It had a story. It had a build. I do think the match would have been better if it was 10 minutes shorter. Yeah, I said 10 minutes because I feel like the first 15, 20 minutes of this match was just headlocks, throws, let the crowd cheer, slow down, and then the end was like phenomenal. But you could have had a 3-minute build of like that and then had everything else and had this match 27, 25 minutes, and it would have been so much better. I don't like that we're just having long matches just to have long matches. The longer the match doesn't make it better.
No,
I think Tony Khan and people, they need to understand that. What makes a match great is that it's great. It doesn't have to be long. So, but with that said, but nonetheless, thumbs way up. Right man won. Loved it. Enjoyed it. Yeah. Overall, great way to end the night.
So I think moral of the story, AEW, shorten your pay-per-views, and not every match needs to be 35 minutes long. You don't need 9 matches on a card either. Maybe 7 or 8 at most, maybe 7, maybe 6, and then each match, make the main events 20 minutes or so, and then everything else less than 15 or less.
I agree. Listen to the two dudes. We know what we're talking about. All right.
That's right.
Let's get into it. Dynamite. They jumped right on. Dynamite was a solid show. They covered a lot of things. Not everybody was on it, but they covered enough. And we had an opening segment between Will Ospreay, Hangman Adam Page, and Swerve Strickland. I'll let you go. What did you think? How did you feel about this in the direction they are going? I know you have opinions.
Yeah, I like this segment. I liked Hangman Page's promo. You could tell that this meant everything to him. And you could tell how much he loves AEW, and he didn't come across over the top with his whole like rah-rah, like this is AEW, this is where the best, like we didn't need that, which we didn't get, thankfully. I could have done without, like, we have a long way to go until July 12th, which is the date of All In, and I feel like they're kind of the very first time after this, they should have set the stage, like let him have a moment with Jon Moxley. I could have done without the Swerve Strickland, Will Ospreay stuff this week. Maybe they do it next week, or they do it. They kind of do it as the show is coming on. So I felt like they gave us a little too much too soon. But other than that, like, I thought the promo was great. I like the idea of Will Ospreay being the mediator between Swerve and Hangman. I like that they're not ready to bury the hatchet yet, and I like that Swerve's like, I'll never work with him, I'll never trust him, and Hangman's the same way. So I like that they're still bickering and they still have their beef and they haven't forgotten what the other one did to the other. So I thought it was a good way to open the show and get us excited about All In, even though I wish he would have focused on Jon Moxley a little bit more.
Yeah, he didn't seem to really care much. I mean, he cut a great opening promo. Swerve coming out makes sense. They're continuing that story, which is why Hangman's even where he is now, because of Swerve. So having him come out, Ospreay being the mediator is fine. This reminds me a lot of last year's WrestleMania 40, not 41, but 40 with Cody Rhodes. And I'm okay. And I'm not saying, oh, they're cup. It doesn't matter. I mean, you're going to use ideas. It is what it is. But this is Cody Rhodes versus the Bloodline at 100%. You have Roman Reigns, who is the big bad champion that no one could beat, with the Bloodline, who is helping him win every single match. You have Jon Moxley, who's winning every single match except when they're not his single matches. And you have the big bad Death Riders, who are defeating everyone. So Hangman Page has beaten him before twice, but he doesn't think he can beat him now because he has the Death Riders. How is he going to do it? Build a team of people who are going to want the better of the good so much that they're okay if they don't get that title shot. Will Ospreay and Swerve are going to end up being like, we're good with it. We don't need the championship because that's how bad we want it off of Mox. So if you're the guy who's going to get it off of Mox, we're going to help you. It's freaking WrestleMania 40 all over again, and I'm perfectly fine with it. I loved it. I thought it was great. Yeah, and I'm all in. So that's my take. And that's not a dog. That's me complimenting.
No, I agree. My fear is that it's going to be more WrestleMania 39, but Hangman Page is playing the role of Sami Zayn. Jon Moxley's playing the role of Roman Reigns, and waiting in the corner and hiding in the shadows to make his big return is Darby Allin playing the role of Cody Rhodes. And that's my fear, is that Darby, because Sami Zayn was involved in the better story going into WrestleMania 39. Mm-hmm. He turned on Roman at the end of the Royal Rumble, one of the best pops of all time, one of the greatest moments ever. Fantastic ending to that show with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn just being battered in the ring. Mm-hmm. And then he had that fantastic match at Elimination Chamber, which Sami Zayn took the L in. But there was Cody Rhodes, who came back from an injury, won the Royal Rumble, and was like, oh yeah, I guess the match, he has to have the match because he's been pegged as the guy. That's my fear. I want Hangman Page to win. I want you to be right. I want it to be WrestleMania 40 and not WrestleMania 39. But I have this fear that they're going to put the belt on Darby. They're going to have Hangman Page lose, which is a huge mistake, and put the belt on Darby Allin later on in the year, maybe at All Out.
Yeah, I get your fear, but have no fear. That ain't happening.
I hope I'm wrong.
They did not have Hangman Page defeat Will Ospreay to have him lose to Jon Moxley. I know people are trying to stir up the internet right now, like, will Hangman Page lose to Jon Moxley at this next thing? Let's talk about it. It's not going to happen. It definitely is not. I mean, Hangman Page is winning. He's the AEW. He's the Sting.
He is, and I agree. Yeah,
he is the Cody Rhodes. It's happening. The end. Will Darby join them though? 100%. It's not just going to be them three. They're going to need a whole team who are going to come and help them, especially if Pac ever comes back and so on. We got 45 days to build this. And I don't think Swerve needs to turn. I think he needs to wait till even the week before. I think Swerve should be. I think they should bring in Darby and then Swerve at the last. I don't even think Swerve should decide before All In. I think
Swerve should be
he helps him win. Yes, the Seth Rollins or whatever. The last second helps him win and kind of gives to Hangman as he's celebrating you're welcome. And then ask for the title shot after. I think that's because Swerve's the other big AEW guy. So that's what I think is going to happen.
I hope you're right. I wonder if that's why they haven't mentioned the Darby Allin thing on TV with him climbing Mount Everest, because they want it out of sight, out of mind. So when he does come back, it feels like a huge deal and that he's the guy. So that's my only fear. But I want Hangman Page to win. That's the only right and logical outcome, and I think that's the best outcome. I think Hangman Page should win. Otherwise, this 2-year story, this redemption arc, is for nothing if Hangman Page loses. So I hope you're right.
Yeah, I'm always right. All right, let's get into it. You ready? Just kidding. We had Thekla debut. She laid out Jamie Hayter. Poor Jamie Hayter, man. She's like we got to get somebody over. Jamie Hayter, you want to come over here? She's like, okay. But she got her butt kicked, and Thekla did a little spider move, like she was Bray Wyatt, rest in peace. And I kind of dug it. I thought she looked good. I'm not very familiar with her. I Googled her. I did a Wikipedia that I've always been told that I should do to get educated if somebody doesn't make a video for me educating me on Wikipedia. So I looked her up. She's accomplished some things. I can see why I haven't really known of her, because she hasn't won titles that are extraordinary in New Japan and so on. But yeah, she looks good. I thought it was a nice little fire debut, and I'm excited to see where we go with it. The AEW is pushing that women's division, man, and I'm still enjoying it, whether we like the matches or not, or where the direction they're going. They definitely push it, and they're bringing in new females. I was all for it.
Yeah, I liked it too. And yeah, I mean, I think that's why Jamie Hayter's there, is to help bring the new talent in, make them look good, make them look strong. And yeah, I mean, I like this debut. That hopefully they do this right. Tony Khan, I know you listen. I know you watch us. I know you're one of our 1,355 fans that we have out there on YouTube. So go. Do not, under any circumstance, put her in the world title the women's world championship picture anytime soon. Look at what happened to Megan Bain. She was she came in as the girl, and then she got put in the title picture, and they really haven't done anything with her since. Like, let's gradually get Thekla to the world title picture. Don't just throw her in there because she's your shiny new toy.
I remember calling that shit too. I said she's gonna lose, it's gonna ruin her, and it sure did. All right, let's get
still gorgeous though.
Oh hell yeah, she is. She is a bombshell. All right, let's get into something. Ryan's new favorite fraction. That is Frat House. They had a match against the Opps. I'm going to let you start because you said you had to go take a hot shower after this. You were so hot and bothered from Frat House. You were, and not because the guys, just because you were just so overwhelmed with joy of this booking of this new faction. What do you say? The match went on for 3 minutes and the Frat House lost. Go ahead.
It was 3 minutes too long. I want 3 minutes of my life back. But man, this was bad. It was a good way to make the Opps look strong. I get why they did it, but you had the dude jacked. What was Jack?
Jameson.
Jacked Jameson. Yeah, came out and mocked the crowd and talked about how El Paso has a bunch of fat women out there, and just criticizing everything. And then he bumped into Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe finally beat him down. I was like, thank God, I end this thing. I don't know what they're doing because Griff Garrison and Preston Vance were supposed to come in, and Griff Garrison just had a match a couple months ago with Edge during the Adam Copeland Invitational for the TNT Championship, and people were like, oh, it's going to put him over, it's going to send him over to the next level. He gets to work with a Hall of Famer. And now he's with the Frat House. So is this like AEW's version of Chase U? Is this AEW's version of Private Party, who is also an AEW tag team? Is this I don't even know what they're doing, but this was man. I think I've spent more time talking about it than they lasted in the match against Samoa Joe.
You did. I last longer in bed than these guys lasted in this match. Here's the thing, right? Were they in ROH before this? Are they debuting in that? Was this a thing they're doing? Because if not, why the hell would you give them a 5-minute video segment of them getting drunk at a frat house when all these guys are obviously my age? They're in their mid-30s and they're at a frat house partying or whatever. And then you have them lose in 3 minutes to the Opps in a complete squash. You give them a promo, you give them time, you give them why would you waste all of that TV time to promote somebody you're gonna not even and he's done this before. I don't get is he like Vince McMahoning it where he's in the back that was so good. That was good. I love it. Frat House. Why are you I didn't get it at all. And dude, Preston Vance, wasn't he in the whole thing with when Brody died and building after that, he took his mask off. He was this new huge villain. I hadn't seen him and all of a sudden now he's New Jersey Shore. I don't know. I thought it was weird. He also looked like he didn't want to be there. So I don't know if it was put together yesterday or not. I'm sure AEW hardcore fans will know, but it was a huge miss for me. I don't even think it made the Opps look good. I thought it was stupid.
Yeah. No, I thought that's the thing that irritated me was the Opps just won Anarchy in the Arena. They beat the Young Bucks and the Death Riders, probably the two most over heels in the group in the company. And instead of putting all the TV time on them and focusing on them, you give this Frat House promo time and let them talk. And it should have been the other way around. You should have had Samoa Joe come out and cut a promo about the Death Riders they effed around and they found out and anyone else wants some, and then make them look strong. But I feel like this made them look weak and should have been the other way around. Give the Opps an opportunity to talk their smack after beating the Death Riders.
Yeah, not beat Frat House. All right, I'm gonna get you a Frat House shirt. I'm sure there's already one made. All right, let's end it off with how they ended it off, and that is one Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné promo. I have been shitting on Mercedes Moné ever since she joined AEW. I was a huge Sasha Banks fan. I'm still a huge just her fan. I love her. She's gorgeous. I think she can go in the ring. I just don't think she was made for AEW. I think they give her too much leverage and she doesn't know how to promote herself and cut promos. With that said, I thought she looked great coming out on that lowrider. I liked it, holding up the belts, the lowrider thing. I thought this promo between both of them was fire. I mean, Toni Storm looking whatever. She's going to be a lesbian. It is. I don't know why they're so invested in the lesbian gimmick, but nonetheless, I liked all of it. I thought this was Mercedes Moné best moment other than being a puppet. I think Toni Storm looked great. I think this felt like a huge deal, which it should, because these are the two biggest women in AEW. What I think, though, needs to happen is that Mercedes needs to drop those random belts. I think it is taking away from her. I think she needs to have the TBS title. I think Toni needs to have the women's championship title. And I think this needs to be pushed as title versus title, winner take all. Who is the best female wrestler in AE? I think that's the only way. And I think it could main event if it wasn't the fact that Hangman and Mox is way bigger. But this is like a big time. This is like if they had All In night 1 and night 2, this would main event night 1. That's how big this match is. But I feel like it needs to feel that way. And I didn't like that Toni was like, I'll see you at All In. I'm like, you'll see her at All In. You're not going to talk for 45 days? Like, what the you mean you're see her at All In? But nonetheless, if they build this right, I think she needs to drop them. Not on AEW. She stays undefeated, drops those stupid titles somewhere else, defends her TBS title on the build. Toni defends her title, and we do title, like, who's the damn best? That's what I think. Collect real belts. Don't collect all these other belts nobody watches.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think this was Mercedes' best promo that she's ever cut in AEW. And I think it's because, yes, a lot of it had to do with Toni Storm, but I think we got to see a little bit of her character, and we got to see a little bit of her gimmick, and we got to learn a little bit more about her as the person. Because she talked about, her time. She was like, I'm not the boss anymore. I'm the CEO. And Toni Storm talked about, we both struggled on the indies, and then we found a place somewhere else, and then we came here, and we've been the best versions of ourselves. Talking about alluding to their time in the WWE where they were, Toni Storm was used horribly, and Sasha Banks, walked out on the company because of how she felt she was being treated. So, and now they're thriving in AEW. So I think we got a little bit of we peeled the onion back a little bit, and we got to see some of the layers of the character. And I think that brought out the best of Mercedes Mone. This was a really strong promo. And I agree. I think they need to do title versus title. I would even argue for a title unification match, because there's already too many belts. So the TBS title hasn't really been anything spectacular since they introduced it. It wasn't really great when Jade Cargill had it. It wasn't great when Chris Statlander had it. Julia Hart is the best TBS champion they've had. Mercedes hasn't really done anything with it because she's defending all the other titles. I think they should just unify the two titles and let it be a winner take all.
All right. That's fine with me. I do think they need to have two titles, but yes, I get the reason why you're saying it. I mean, the men's have 17 titles, so it's hard to.
Yeah,
but nonetheless,
yeah,
I'm all for it. I think it needs to have an Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan WrestleMania 6-5. I think it's that big of a match. I think it needs to be treated as so, and I think it'll help get Mercedes over. So
I hope so.
All right.
I hope so.
With that said, that was the week of AEW. It was a good week. I know we did a lot of thumbs down, but once again, that's because matches are average, not above. I still like the pay-per-view, and I love Dynamite. I thought it's good, and I think AEW is trending in the right direction. You ready for some true or false, homie? I know we don't have music.
No songs. No
songs, but we're going to get into this. And basically, true or false, we're going to give each other a couple scenarios of AEW, and we will announce whether or not we think it's true or false. Ryan, what you got for me?
All right, we'll start off with our boy MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. So, true or false, MJF will be the one to turn on Bobby Lashley in the Hurt Syndicate and not the other way around.
Man, I had the same exact one. That's hilarious. All right, will MJF turn or will that? I'm going to go with history, and I will say true. MJF will eventually turn.
True. It's damn true.
I think the Hurt Syndicate are better as baby faces than MJF is. So if MJF turns, he'll continue to be a heel. Hurt Syndicate will move on to being baby faces, but I don't think it should happen anytime soon. So with that, I think this thing needs to cook. I think it should be fun. It will be fun. MJF usually drags things out forever. So I think if from a year from now or a little bit less, he does the turn, I'm all for it.
Yeah, no, I'm all for it too. I think they're trying to set it up like the Hurt Syndicate doesn't want him, but it's going to turn out that he never wanted them and he was just using them to get his Triple B back. So, yeah, I could see it. He needs to be the one that turns for sure.
I agree. All right, you ready?
Yeah, go for it. What you got?
All right. We talked about it. I'm going to do a prediction, but at All In, Mercedes Mone will win the heavyweight championship and hold all the titles. Tony Khan wants his money back. He wants his investment paid for. He doesn't care if Mercedes is over or not. He's going to give her that damn belt. She will be the champ at All In. True or false?
I had the exact same one for you too, so it's funny that we did this. All right.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
As of right now, early all-in prediction, but I'm predicting that Mercedes Mone beats Toni Storm. That's why they had this match, because Toni Storm, you could make a case that she's bigger than the AEW Women's Championship, and she doesn't necessarily need it. I didn't think Toni Storm needed to beat Mariah May at Revolution. I think she got it back, and she's held it ever since, and she's been a fantastic champion. She's a fantastic character, and I think she's going to bring out the best in Mercedes Mone, and this is going to be the best that we've seen Mercedes in AEW, like we said before. But Toni Storm is there to take an L, unfortunately. But yeah, I think that's why they put her in this match.
The only thing I see, I'm going to say true as well, by the way. The only thing,
it's damn true.
And that's why I think it should be title for title, because Mercedes is going to win anyway, so it doesn't matter, and she'll have to relinquish that TBS championship afterwards. Or defend both, probably. I don't know. But here's the thing, right? Toni Storm has lost before. We've seen her lose her titles to Mariah May. We've seen her lose. We've never seen Mercedes Mone lose. So that doesn't give me the confidence that she is going to lose and have Toni Storm be that person. I think Toni Storm should win. I think Mercedes Mone should lose and go off and rebrand herself and come back as something else. But with that said, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Mercedes gets the W at All In for sure. Yeah. Unless they change my mind. Things can change. 45 days.
Yeah. And they need to do a better job of building somebody on the women's roster that can be a credible threat to take the belts off of Mercedes Mone. Because right now there's nobody out there that looks even semi-credible to finally end her undefeated streak. And it should be treated as a big deal whenever somebody does.
Especially if Mariah May's leaving. So, because she could have been
100%. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
All right. What's your second one, homie?
All right, let's go. We talked about introducing titles. We talked about taking titles away and unifying titles. So true or false, AEW should introduce women's tag team championships.
Oh, hell yeah, true. I don't know how they don't already.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Highs and lows. I think that, they have to, right? I mean, I'm surprised they already don't, because they do such a better job than WWE in most cases at promoting that women's division. They're about even sometimes or below NXT, but yeah, they do a really good job. Why not have a women's tag team? And they have so many women just sitting around doing nothing that they build up, and then they lose a title match and they stop. Right, give them the tag team title. So yeah, for sure, women's tag team championship already should have been a thing.
Yeah, like they have Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne, Anna Jay and Harley Cameron. Deonna Purrazzo's in a tag team with
what's Julia Hart doing? Like,
Julia. You can do it. Toni Storm and Mariah May for a while. Like, they 100% should. But I think they should do it if they condense some of the titles that they have already. They consolidate the international and the continental title, and maybe even the TBS championship, to kind of give these women something else to fight for.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to do that anyway. All right, you ready for the last one?
Yeah, let's go for it.
So I'm doing a gossip one. Are you ready?
All
so
right.
Rumor has it, at Double or Nothing, Hangman Adam Page and one Will Ospreay walked into the arena, were 2 seconds away from having their match, and they had no idea who was going to win because Tony Khan was flip-flopping and wasn't sure what he wanted to do, and he gave it to him last second. So if all this nonsense is true, is Tony Khan waiting last second for matches being booked on who's going to win or lose bad for business? True or false?
False.
Good answer.
Yeah, I don't believe any of that garbage, first of all.
Nope.
And I think it's so stupid to even have this argument and have this discussion. But, first of all, you couldn't have gone wrong either way. Hangman Page was 100% the right decision, but you can make a case that Will Ospreay was 100% the right decision. So that was not an easy decision for Tony Khan to be like, yep, nope, this guy's winning. And I'm sure maybe he had somebody in his ear saying, I think Will Ospreay should get the win. Somebody else was probably like, Hangman Page has had a great run over the last 2 years. He should get the win. So I'm sure it was not an easy decision. I don't think it means anything in terms of, this is one of the few times we've heard about him waiting until the last minute to book or to make a decision on who's winning. I think a lot of times we know and he knows ahead of time who's winning. But this happened to be a really important decision. So I'm actually kind of glad that, he didn't take it lightly and that he gave it some thought, and I think he made the right decision.
I think it's so stupid, and people were like, "Oh, this is a Vince move, and now he's Vince McMahon." And okay, no, he's not. Vince McMahon would have writers write an entire SmackDown episode, give it to him an hour beforehand, and then he would crumple it up and throw it away and say, "Start over." This is not the same thing. Either guy could have won, like you said. Why not wait till the last second? Why not let it dissect? Tony Khan is a big fan of the internet. Maybe he was looking around and saying, "Okay, what are people kind of vibing more? So maybe if I pick that guy, it'll
listen to our podcast
more. Yeah. Good for business, right?" Like I see literally, if it's true, who cares? And I guarantee you that Will Ospreay and Hangman Page wouldn't have given a shit either. That's how it works sometimes. Sometimes you show up and they say you're winning, and then 2 hours later they go, "Actually, you're not." You know what I mean? So there's that's Bully Ray. He's been weird lately, but he's always said you die and live by the pen, right? By the pencil, the eraser and the pencil, right? You're either going to get erased and you're never the champion, or you get written in and you'll be a champion. It's just that's your goal, right? That's what your fate is based off of. I see nothing wrong with it, and I think it was the right decision. And if that's what he did, then so be it. Who cares?
Yeah. No, I think it. The funny thing too is I think people are talking out of both sides of their mouth again, because just last month at AEW Dynasty, when Swerve didn't win the title of Jon Moxley, that was the wrong decision. And Tony Khan's not listening to the fans. And Tony Khan he clearly doesn't have a plan. He doesn't have things figured out, blah, blah. Like, that's all everybody was like, they were chastising him for the decision that he made. And now they're like, oh, now he's waiting until the last minute to book Matt. I'm like, which is it? Like, does he not know what he's doing? Does he know what he's doing? But yeah. So yeah, I think people just talk out of both sides of their mouth.
Always. All right. That was it. That was our week and our segment. Now we get into our favorite segment of the week, and that is our LVD and MVD, where we pick our least and most valuable dude or dudette of the week of AEW. That includes Dynamite and Double or Nothing. It does not mean we hate or love these people. It means we think they were the least and best booked of this week. Ryan, who is your least valuable of the week?
I hate to do it because I was so hyped when AEW signed him and brought him in, but I got to go Josh Alexander. I know he technically got a victory at Double or Nothing with the Don Callis family, but he turned around and took an L to Brody King in a Continental Championship 4-way qualifying match, and him and Speedball are going to be in it with, I guess, or an international championship match, not Continental, but either way, Josh Alexander is my LVD. He's done nothing but lose ever since he came into AEW. And I was excited for him, but now he just feels like another guy on the roster. And I hate it because he was so good in TNA. And now like I feel like he's stuck in mid-card hell with the Don Callis family. I don't think they're using him properly. And I feel like I don't really see where he goes from here up in terms of trajectory and moving into a title picture or anything. I feel like he's just kind of stuck there because of the way they brought him in.
Good pick, man. He's arguably, in the past 5, 7, 8 years of TNA, the biggest star they have. And to have him come over and have that guy signed, to have him lose his opening match to Hangman, which I don't care who he wrestles, don't have him wrestle Hangman if you're going to, and then joining the Don Callis family, which is basically like going to, I'm not going to be booked well, hell anyway, and then losing to Brody, who loses every week right now, and then he got a win. It's a hot mess. I if you have never watched TNA and you're watching AEW and you're like, this dude's not getting fans. Maybe we do need to sometimes go to NXT. I know people think they're bigger than, but sometimes it's not always better on this other side where you have freedom. You know what I mean?
Look at how it's just funny to me. They brought Speedball Mike Bailey in, who was not really that great in TNA, or not really as big of a star as Josh Alexander was in TNA, and he's being booked way better in AEW than Josh Alexander is in AEW. Sure. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah. Me neither. Somebody else who's not getting booked well is my LVD, and he hasn't been booked well, I think, since he's been in, other than his MJF thing, and that's one Adam Cole. This man literally is just, he's been the TNT champion, which we've talked about, which is one of their most prestigious belts. He's done absolutely nothing with it. He's done nothing in his AEW career, and I know a lot of that's injuries, but nonetheless, it still has sucked. And he is a star. Adam Cole can be a top 5 star. And now you have him losing in a pointless match to the Don Callis family. And then following that up with not even getting a win. He had like a draw or no DQ, and then they rumble and he gets beat. This is a hot flipping mess. I don't know what they're doing with Adam Cole, but honestly, if they don't fix it, I think this can ruin Adam Cole's career forever. Bringing him back to WWE wouldn't even save him. It's pretty damn bad. This poor guy lost a sexy ass woman in Dr. Britt Baker and follows that up with mediocrity in the wrestling. Man, this poor dude. Adam Cole deserves better, and he's in the best shape of his life. I don't get it whatsoever.
And I will give him credit because he took a gnarly bump on Dynamite with that power bomb on the ring apron that looked like his head, hit the canvas really hard, and it could have been catastrophic. And he finished the match, and it looked like all was clear, and he's not going to be hurt and miss any time. But other than that, yeah, you're right. I mean, he is. I don't know what's going on with Adam Cole, but he deserves. This guy should be AEW World Champion material. Yep. He should be in the running to dethrone Jon Moxley, and instead he's stuck in Undisputed Era, with Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly, and they're not doing anything. It's just it's sad to see.
2 of the loudest pops out of the probably top 5 loudest pops in AEW history are both Adam Cole, and you have him doing nothing. Insane. All right, I'm assuming we're gonna have the same person here, but let's end on a high note. Who is your MVD for the week?
It's none other than Hangman Adam Page. Once again, I feel like this guy wins it every single week, but he is the guy in AEW. He is the face of the franchise. He is the guy that they should be building around, and he's the guy that's going to be, hopefully, I'm 99.5% sure he's going to be the guy to take the belt off of Jon Moxley, and they don't do the Darby Allin thing. This Darby Allin thing needs to go away. He went to climb Mount Everest in the middle of a feud with Jon Moxley, so I feel like that's kind of like this is Hangman Page's time. That's what I'll say. But Hangman Adam Page, 100% great. He brought out the best in Will Ospreay, both on the microphone and in the ring. The segment, the passionate promo he cut on Dynamite was amazing. You can tell that he really wants this, and I think it's going to do wonders for both him as a wrestler, him as a character, and him as a person to kind of redeem himself. Because remember, he's the one that ran off CM Punk. Like, he started this whole thing with CM Punk when he went off script, and I think he took a lot of bruises and lumps for that. And I think we kind of forgotten about that now because we're not talking about that anymore, which is a good thing. And hopefully we can shed that, and he goes on to have a great second championship reign.
I fully agree with everything you said. He's also my MVD. How can it not be him? And I think he is the man. Like I said, I think he had one of the worst title reigns in his first run. I know a lot of people like it, but I truly think if you go back and dissect it, it wasn't that great. But I don't think he was ready. And that's what I feel about Will Ospreay. And that's why I'm glad to give it to Hangman, because Hangman is ready now. He's developed his character to perfection. He knows how to work it. He knows how to have matches, how to cut promos, and how to build stories, and the minding of it, and how he just the psychology and all that. He's just that dude, and I think he can help carry AEW to where they need to go. So Hangman Page for sure. The future.
And I'll say this too. I think Hangman Page is one of the best storytellers AEW's ever had. The character arc that he's on right now is one of the best stories they've ever told. And then if you go, you may not have liked his first championship reign, but if you go back and watch it, his rise to beat Kenny Omega to take the title, that was also an incredible story that they told. That he was being pegged as the guy to beat Kenny Omega. They had Kenny Omega beat Christian Cage when he was a babyface because they were saving it for Hangman Adam Page. Yeah,
I agree. Well said. All right, that's our AEW Week in Review. Remember, if you watch WWE as well, we did it. It's posted. Go check it out. Hear what we said about all things Battleground, Saturday night's main event, the week of WWE. Thank you to our AEW fans for tuning in this week again. I think we're starting to give more and more love to this product, as we should. As always, don't forget to subscribe, 5-star review, and give us some damn comments and let us know how we're doing, or if you agree or disagree, and we will be nice about it, which we always are. And if you'd like to hear me talk, because I don't get views on social media, and maybe you enjoy it, so get a brother some views. I'm trying to get to 10K. Hit me at my_wrestling_opinion. And with me, as always, is my brother from another mother who I forgot went to an AEW event with me just a couple months ago.
Just 2 months ago. Yeah.
I know.
It's Ryan Enjoys Wrestling. Go follow me on all the social media platforms. And then go follow us on TikTok and X. We're on TikTok at 2 Dudes with Attitudes, on X at 2 Dudes PC, on Instagram at 2 Dudes with Attitudes Podcast. And then go subscribe to our YouTube channel where we're blowing up and hopefully making some significant traction over the last couple of weeks. So go follow us over there at 2 Dudes with Attitudes. And then if you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, go drop us a 5-star rating and review. Appreciate all the love and support. Help tell all your friends about us and get us on this algorithm and let us become the best known wrestling podcast out there.
In my defense, that was a pretty drunken weekend that you came
It
over.
was.
So give me a
I'll
little
give
bit of a break.
Yeah, I'll give you credit. I'll give you props. So, but
Wolfpack. We out, brothers.
2 dudes with attitudes, let's go. It's the 2 dudes and our attitudes ruthless, aggressively speaking, so let's do this. We're riding in Denton, they here to get your attention. A 5-star broadcast, shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E, the 2 dudes with the attitudes that bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on time to lie.